seen in the past year from Dalvin, not just on the field, but off the field, that has made you feel comfortable with him being the face of a guy that you put in front of everyone?
Just the way he carries himself around our players. He affects our guys every day in a great way. By example of how he does things, and then his ability to see them not doing it and go put their arm around them and talk to them, or actually get on them. I mean, he has grown in the role of, his responsibility to leave his legacy here as the guys did before him.
Jimbo, Ole Miss this year, opening up next year, Alabama. Obviously, this is a trend you did Oklahoma State a couple years ago. Why is this suddenly we're seeing a lot of these opening neutral site games?
I think it's great for brand name building. I think it's also to find out where you're at, get a taste of where you're at, get the guys' attention early in camp, get them all summer to make them focus on where you're at. And I think it's good for college football. I think it's good for us. Helps recruiting, helps everything.
Financial,
to go play financially, it's a great thing. I mean, there's no doubt. But you can't. I'm a believer in this. If you always take jobs for money, end up biting you. If you always go play games for money, for the wrong reasons and not the right times, I think it can bite you. When money becomes the sole issue of everything you do as far as your decision making, it usually ends up stinging the heck out of you. But, I think it's the right thing. I think our program's in position to do those things. We're looking forward to the challenges.
Ole Miss is dealing with the NCAA investigation. How much have you followed on with that, and how's that going to affect that game?
It won't affect it on our part, because they're still going to have those guys on the field playing. They're going to be ready to play. And early I did follow, when it happened, and kind of heard a little bit about it, but I've kind of lost track of it now. I don't have no idea what's up.
Coach, last year the NCAA amended its rules for basketball to allow players to participate in the combine process before making their decision, the underclassmen, whether they're going to go pro. Would you advocate similar type of reform for football? How beneficial would that be?
I don't think you can do it in football because the draft's too late and our signing day's in February. So if they all come back, we have to kick off with the freshmen we got. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to kick them out. What I propose, and I think we should propose, and we've talked about it, been a few coaches that we've got together, and we've petitioned the NFL and some of the college. What I would like for them to do is come in at the end of spring, have a full combine on the juniors. Let them combine the juniors and actually see where they're at, give them a status, let them see them, let them know, so the information they get when they come out based on the things is a lot more informative. And because I think this year there was 4 or 5 guys that got first-round grades that didn't get drafted the third round. There's 5 or 6 guys that got third-round grades and went in the first round. I mean, so the information these kids are getting is too varied. And I think it's because I don't think they're getting evaluated properly at the right time. It's in a hurry. And I think if you did it early, let them do a combine at the end of their junior year. Let the guys go out there and do everything. That way it's not hurting them at the end of the summer and you're pulling something or doing something to get an injury. You got time to heal it. Let them evaluate them and truly come in and look at the film. Because what the key is getting the right information to these kids so they can make a good decision. You know what I'm saying? And when they come back.
Well, how is it possible then to have that many guys get first-round grades and then fall?
Because you got 10 or 12 guys doing it. How important is it to the league? They're worried about their own teams. Those are scouts from teams. I mean, they do it, but still it takes only one guy to have an opinion, and you haven't really studied it all year long and knowing that guy's coming out and spend 8 or 10 months on him instead of 2 months, and really evaluate the process of what he's doing and what happens.
So Jimbo, you're saying,
and that's a good question sometimes. I agree with you.
So before their junior year, you'd like to see a combine?
If the guys are thinking about coming out as juniors, let them have a junior, have one in spring.
And you think that would ultimately maybe lead to less guys coming out?
I think at least, no, I don't know if it would do that, but maybe give them the proper information to make the right decision. Because at the end of the day, guys, this is about the kids. It ain't about us. It ain't about the NFL. And the NFL doesn't want guys that aren't ready. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want to give them up. I mean, let's get the information to the kids so they can make an informed decision.
So you're saying that the grades you're getting that for your team only?
I'm sorry?
The grades you were saying, we got.
Oh, that was throughout the country as we researched it. Thanks.
Jimbo, a little housekeeping. Casher and Chad, I don't think we're on the preseason media guide roster.
Chad.
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad most likely he has a medical issue, and Casher won't be on there. No.
I'm sorry,
Casher won't be on there. No.
The fact that Clemson, Florida State has been such a big game each regular season, and it's been those two teams in the ACC. Would the ACC's image be helped if there was more parity at the top? Just more of a rotating cast of contenders in the division?
I don't know. I mean, who in the SEC? Is there a rotating cast over there?
One and everybody else, right?
Well, or whoever that was Georgia for one, or LSU was LSU or Alabama. No, I mean, but I think there is a lot more than that. I just think we're playing at an elite level. I think both of us have been playing at an elite level. You You know what I mean? I mean, you're talking about 2 preseason top 5 teams again with us and them. I mean, it's good. I mean, but I mean, we're barely. You know, we have a lot of games we scratch and claw all the way through the season. I mean,
What's been the difference between Clemson, Florida State, and everybody else when you look at the standings over the last?
we have played with more consistency. We've been able to recruit well. And we have had good players, and we've been able to coach them well. And not that other guys haven't, but we've been able to just be fortunate in certain games. I mean, we've created a culture that right now we're both playing pretty well.
You've gone through the wars.
No.
You've gone through the wars with the SEC and some of those big games. Does Clemson, Florida State remind you?
Oh,
of some
no
of the
doubt.
games in terms of the
No,
talent,
than Miami.
physicality?
I mean, go look at Miami's had 6-8 guys drafted every year. Miami game. I mean, Clemson game. All those games. Yes, most definitely.
Those three legit Heisman candidates.
Oh, I think so. I think they're all going to be first-round picks. I definitely do.
Probably like to see him go after this year.
Who?
You probably like to see him go after this
Who's
year.
that?
Brad and Deshaun.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. I think they'll be first-round picks whenever they go.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't mind not having to play those guys.
Oh no.
For 2 more times.
Yeah, but they're still great for college football. I'm not in that app. You guys want to play? I like watching great players. I like playing against great players. I like the challenge.
Do you think in your players' minds has the rivalry with Clemson reached that pitch with Miami and Florida? Are obviously more natural.
Oh, I think they're very important, but the Miami Floridas are so old. I mean, that's traditional rivalries. Those will never be any less important than Florida State, no matter what. But in the conference, that Clemson game on our side has been a huge game.
Has it settled in with you how big that new scoreboard is going to be? Obviously, above your office, you see the construction there and how huge that thing's going to
I
be.
ain't anybody that. I hope we put a bunch of numbers on our side and none on the other.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about Josh Sweat as an evolving player. How is he evolving as a young player?
Well, we didn't even think he played. He's 6'5", 250 now. He can, if his ability, he was #1 player in the country coming out till he got hurt. I mean, this guy can affect the game in the run game, the pass game, turning that edge, being a pass rusher. I think he has a chance to be a very, very good football player if he can keep evolving and affect. And anytime those guys up front can affect that quarterback, that's a good thing.
Are those the kind of guys you almost need to recruit now that can do a little bit of everything on defense, just pass game, run game, set the edge?
No doubt. In those space where Derwin's, those linebackers that can run and do, play in space but also be physical. I mean, you can't get enough of those guys.
I think this is the first year since you brought in Jeremy and then Charles have had a full class recruited for that type of mindset. Does that help, or how does that help?
I think it does. I mean, you
do?
definitely do, but still what we do on defense is always going to be the same, and it's we're still going to make the decisions, we're going to run it and get to certain kind of guys.
Any truth to the rumor that when the ACC network launches, you'll be doing an auctioneering show?
No, I ain't doing no auctioneering show. I talk too fast for an auctioneer.
You're doing a Showtime show, though, right?
Yeah, we are.
What was the thinking behind that?
Well, I think I want to see. I want people to really realize. People think, well, you just get great players, you win. I want people to live in these guys' life, know what they do, have an appreciation for what happens, and how much work and how much dedication these kids put in to be at the level we play at, and what our program does culturally for everyone. And I just think it's a great thing.
Which players have made the most physical strides? And usually guys who want to put on muscle or do this. There are a couple guys that kind of jumped out of you body-wise.
Not yet, though. Because they still got a couple weeks left. You know what I mean? But Big Set's one of the best years we've had in the weight room. So
I saw a guy like Emmett Rice was out there, looked a lot bigger.
Oh, he's put on. They said he's about 208 or 10 pounds right now. I mean, he's put on 12, 15 pounds. He's been there already.
Who are some maybe of those newcomers that you're getting reports back from? Maybe Dalvin.
I haven't. Yeah, I really haven't. I haven't had tons of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jimbo, how's your son Ethan doing?
Doing really well right now. He's normally playing baseball, and I just finished all that up and doing well, ornery as ever.
And did the James Conner situation affect you a little bit more because of your experience with your son?
Yeah, I mean, it just the tragedy I can imagine what his family was going through. I should have reached out to him more, and I didn't. But because I was always a private guy like that. You know what I mean? I give them their privacy, but I just always hope and pray to keep your fingers crossed that things turn out for those guys. And I'm happy it did. He was not only a great player, but just that puts things in perspective. Football's one thing, life's another.
Jim, on the depth chart that came out in the media guide, I noticed you had Wally Amy was a second right behind DeMarcus Christmas. You're very deep at defense. That guy must have done some things in the spring that really
he did. He can affect the passer, what he's worked, what he's done. He earned that spot. That's where he came out playing.
Is it different when you got a junior college guy at that position? He's a little bit more physically mature than maybe a guy coming out of high school to be able to play.
It depends, but most of the time, yes, because he's got those year or two of growing. Most of the time, yes, but you never know.
You mentioned Sean's back out there throwing. How's the ankle?
Good, running, doing everything. He's training with our guys, running, doing everything.
Any residuals or is he?
No.
All right.
last year Dalvin had more carries than any running back you've ever had in your head coaching career. Are you comfortable increasing that workload again if it's what it takes?
Whatever we got to do to get him the ball and put it in position, but whatever we have to do to win, you know what I mean, and however we do it. So, and also his health and what goes on.
How have you been impressed with the way he's gone forward as a leader? He's more vocal now. He's coming
Tremendous.
out with things like this.
He is very comfortable in his role. He knows who he is, what he is, but also how important it is for him to affect the guys on our team in a great way for us to go where we want to go.
Just to confirm, Lorenzo Featherston officially.
Yes.
Jimbo, DeMarcus said that he thought this defense coming up to be the best in FSU history. Do you share that sentiment that it hasn't?
I hope so. I'm glad he thinks that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do. I mean, because if you don't think it, you're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it has a chance to be a good one. We'll wait and see, and if it develops the characteristics and things. But I like his perspective on things, and we'll have to wait and see. We've had some good ones now. There's been some real good ones, but you ain't going to do it unless you think it.
But the pieces are there to be.
Have a chance to be good. I mean, we're talented, but there's other people who have just as good a play. I mean, we've recruited high, other people have them too, but I think how they play and the continuity in which they play with and which we play with as a team is going to be important, and also how we play on offense. I mean, you talk about being great on defense, you got to be great. It helps when you're good on offense. Limited possessions, things out on the field, numbers of opportunities, all that matters. When we led the nation in defense that year, we won and led the nation in points, the most ever scored in college. I mean, they complement each other. People don't understand that. Football, I mean, it's such a team game. You can be really good on one side, and if the other side struggles, it can affect you how you play on that side. I mean, and things. But it has a chance to be a very good deal. It has pieces in place, and there's a multiplicity of different types of players that I'm very excited about. That I think we can move and put in different positions when we have to.
People talk about Dalvin and Derwin a lot as great players. Obviously, is that guy DeMarcus? Is he a great college football?
Oh, there's no doubt. Production. You go talent, production, and what he does. I mean, 10.5 sacks, plays the run, affects the quarterback, plays hard, sets a tone for the other guys. Yes, he is. Most definitely is.
You guys move him around quite a bit too. So.
We do. Inside 4 technique, 5 technique, stand him up occasionally. I mean, just to create different ways to rush him on different people.
I apologize if somebody asked, but the first-year coaches in this conference, obviously, Fuente, Rick, you added 4 guys. I mean, what are your impressions of the depth that gives us the ACC now?
Well, I think the other guys that were there were also very good coaches, but these guys have all been very accomplished. I mean, they've accomplished and at the highest that they can be at where they came from. So I mean, it's going to add depth to us, and we'll add a lot of competition. That's for sure.
In the past, you talked a lot about limiting clutter and all of these things, and now, obviously, this year with the Showtime being in there for the season, can you talk about how? Obviously, you're bringing them in, so to some extent that's different. But how is that different, and how does that affect?
I think with where our program's at right now, I think it will bring more focus. I think when people know you're watching and things are going on, I think you're not that you change, but I think this team can handle that little bit of distraction if it's a distraction. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to show these people. Everyone thinks you just have great players, you throw them out there and you win. I want to see what a life of I want people to appreciate and see what we are, what we do, how we do things as a program, how we do things as an organization, and what these kids actually, the price they pay to be successful. And it's not a price that they choose to pay. I'm not saying it's a detriment. It's what they do and how much work and how much investment in all the facets of your life you have to be a good player and win consistently on the field and what you do. And I think it's going to be a great to me, visual for these people to see what actually goes into this. It's not just getting good players and throwing them on the field.
It doesn't hurt for Brandon either, right?
Jimbo, the short yardage situation, I mean, you guys were kind of up and down last year. And I mean, was that a function of the offensive line, or why were you going to be better this year?
Go back and look at it. I'll go back. Went back when we were real good. A lot of times, block very average, back ran over somebody. Block real good, back made yards. I mean, it's just a mindset and attitude, and I think it's a combination of all. And I think it's something you just got to keep emphasizing, running and doing, and it sets a mentality. But I mean, we also had big physical guys. I mean, Carlos, Wilder, all those, even Freeman, they were powerful guys. I mean, I always say this: you want to be a good throwing team, get a good quarterback. You want to be a good run team, get a good tailback. You know what I mean? You want to be a good short yardage team, get good power backs. You know what I mean? And I think we've got some of those guys now evolving, and we've worked on it and tried to scheme up some things, and we're going to put a big emphasis on it. But I mean, it was a little bit of everything. I mean, a guy would, and if you take this guy takes turn, this guy takes turn, this guy takes turn, all of a sudden it looks like it's a problem, but and it's not major. It's just each guy made one. Well, I made one mistake. Well, yeah, but you got one. There's a problem. You know, we just got to emphasize the importance of it and not allow any. Fix it.
All right, we're done.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks.